And that's one of the players they need Potsy to step up to get this Champions League football is Palmer. He's kind of going through his first slump in his career. Why do you think he's off the boil at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question about Palmer. And people think I'm bitter when I say this because obviously I mentioned Foden as well. Let me get this straight. I think Palmer, Foden, and Saka are ridiculously talented. I think the three of them are absolutely outstanding footballers. Yet, if you look at the bad season that Palmer has apparently had this season, Foden certainly, in my opinion, has this season, and then you compare it to what Saka has done for the last 4 years, we all know, and I don't need to remind you, how much of a meltdown Arsenal fans were getting in about Saka being questioned. So now, rightly so, and this is where I will stick up for my fan base, even though some of them are completely deluded in sections. They're looking at now, I think people are looking at Saka and putting some respect on his name because he's out at the moment and we're really struggling, right? So it proves that he was needed when we were when we were in kind of need of him. He steps up. And for the last 4 years, he has pretty much carried that team on his back. He hasn't been able to win anything for us because he's a young kid, of course, still. But then you look at what Foden and Palmer are doing, struggling around some of the players they've got around them at the moment. And you see and you think, wow, Saka's a talented kid, man. He is a talented boy. So the reason I was going to say Palmer, I think, has dropped is because the whole team have dropped. The reason that Foden hasn't had the best of seasons is because Manchester City haven't had the best of seasons, right? So when Arsenal haven't had the best of season and Saka's still putting out the work rate and the goals and assists that he's put out, and even when he doesn't play well, he scores and assists. I think people have now realised how unbelievable Saka is as a footballer. So that's the first thing I will say. On Chelsea and on Palmer, I think Cole Palmer's an unbelievable footballer. And it's funny how nobody is mentioning the fact that he could actually leave Chelsea in the summer if there was an interested club, of course. Because if they don't get Champions League, Palmer might look at them and go, where are we going then as a football club?
Well,
Am
bro,
I
Chelsea fans
convinced?
last night were telling me on Twitter that apparently there's a release clause in Palmer's contract that if they don't get Champions League, the release clause becomes active.
Wow.
And that was Chelsea fans telling me that, by the way, not me.
Wow.
I didn't even know, bro. They was telling me that.
I didn't know that. Well, there was me thinking that someone was going to shoot me down in the chat, and LB's just told me that is actually potentially something that could happen. Because real talk, if Palmer's looking at Chelsea's future, he might be happy at Chelsea now because he's playing first team football and all that. Mate, would he go back to Man City? Could you imagine?
Well,
we've borrowed you. We'd lent you in for a couple of years. Come back now.
Yeah,
that release clause is done. Could you imagine activating that?
I'd take him back. You know what I mean?
Real talk. Am I mad? Real talk. He could leave.
Well, no, you're not mad because at the end of the day, yeah, you've got to have the same energy for Chelsea that people have had for Arsenal. Because for last year or so, we've said about Arsenal, if Arsenal don't win anything, Saliba could leave. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. And now obviously there's a few rumours flying around that he might go to Madrid. You've got to have the same rumours for the players at Chelsea. So you got to have the same rumours for the likes of Palmer and that. You know, Palmer is not going to be wanting to be playing Europa League football, is he, next year? He's going to want to be playing Champions League. Now, he might give it another year, but at some point, yeah, Palmer's going to go, this club is dead. Yeah, we ain't winning nothing. We're not even getting Champions League. We've got clowns running the football club. I'm going to leave. Now, that might not be this summer, right? And I don't think it will be this summer. But if they don't get Champions League next year, nah, he ain't staying for another season, mate. Yeah, he needs to be playing on the world stage, yeah? And I'm not talking Conference League. Yeah? I'm talking the Premier Division, the Champions League. So that's where I want to be. But yeah, man, it's Chelsea are a mess, isn't it? They're just that ownership.
If I said to you, you've got this amount of money to build a football team. I think you might have said this actually, LB. The first two positions you go and pick are the two positions that there has been no Premier League winner that has had a bad one in. A goalkeeper and a striker. They are the two positions on a football pitch. If you look at the Premier League winners, even if you go to Leicester and Blackburn, they had Kasper Schmeichel and Tim Flowers, who people might laugh at in comparison to the Schmeichels of this world or the Petr Cechs, but they're still quality goalkeepers at the time, right? Strikers. There's not been a bad striker that's won the Premier League. Whether your name's Haaland, whether it's Dwight York and Cole, Thierry Henry, or whether it's the likes of what we've seen recently of Liverpool and City in the last decade, they've all had top quality attackers and strikers. You absolutely have to have that. Chelsea have not got that. Chelsea, I'm a fan of Pedro Neto. He has stunk the place out since he's gone to Chelsea. I know he played quite well at the weekend, but he's stunk the place out. Player that I wanted at Arsenal. Think he's a quality player. He stunk the place out. You've got Madueke. not good enough. You've got Sancho. Man United fans were like crying. Now they're laughing because he's about as bad as he was at Man United, right? Up the top, they've got Nicholas Jackson and Mark Gui, or Gui, whatever the hell you say his name.
Where has this money been spent, man?
Honestly, bro, I like Palmer and Caicedo. Then I'm starting to struggle. And I go, yeah, I can respect Reece James, but he's injured. I think Gusto's a good player potentially. Now I'm struggling because Levi Colwell is not going to be a John Terry, right? Enzo Fernandez plays one game and we all hear about it. Oh, he was good, wasn't he? Enzo Fernandez was good at the weekend. He plays one game good, and everyone they want to scream to the rooftops how good he was because they know he's been an absolutely horrendous signing for 105 million or whatever the hell it was, right? Lavia's a good player, but he's never fit. I quite like Wes Fofana, if I'm honest, but never fit. Cucurella, yeah, I think overrated, if I'm honest. Good player, but not like wow. It doesn't wow me. There's a lot more left backs I'd buy over him. So where has this money gone, man? It's absolute waste of a money. And
it's actually wild, isn't it? I don't know where that money's gone. I said it. I think I might have said this on last week's show. I can't remember. I said it recently, but like, I genuinely believe that if you would have given me 1.5 million, I would have had Chelsea challenging for a title this season. Like legit, I swear to God, I believe that. I believe that if you would have given me 1.5 million, I would have built a squad that could attack, and I would not have hired Maresca either. So I would have had you a better manager, and I would have had you a better squad. I feel like anyone with half a brain and that's watched football for any legitimate like period of time, if you give them 1.5 billion, I almost feel like it's impossible to fail. Yet Chelsea have done exactly that. They've failed. And you look at the squad and you look at it and you go, where has the money gone? Where is 1.5 billion pound in what, like 3 years? Where's the money gone? It's absolutely ridiculous, mate. Do you know what I mean? It probably needs another half a billion pounds spending on it. Because let's be honest, yeah, elite level strikers are not cheap these days. You're talking 70 million there. Goalkeeper, 50, 60 mil. I think you need at least one centre back, maybe two. Yeah, you need probably another midfielder. Your wingers are now, all of a sudden now, apparently, Sancho's fallen off. So it's crazy, man. That club is just, and I completely understand why they're protesting, because the club's just a joke. It's an absolute joke, and the guys running the show are just embarrassed that whole football club. Remember, it wasn't too long ago since they beat us in the Champions League. What was it, 2021? Was it?
Yeah. Do you know what's really crazy? Do you know what's crazy about it? This summer for me is so interesting for Chelsea, because when they got into the sort of, everyone has a different interpretation of the title race, but when they were one win away from going top in the middle of December, which was only 2 and a bit months ago, I was looking at it and thinking, yeah, do you know what? Those young players are starting to click, become a bit more mature. They've got that midfield that's now cooking nicely. They're winning games. There were still problems. They needed a better striker. They needed a better goalkeeper. But you're like, hang on. There are a couple of players away here. And I remember us having conversations, and we spoke about Man United. We knew City would spend. We spoke about United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and who is the most likely to do something in the January window. And most of us, and I think even Chelsea fans who were very supportive of the Clear Lake project, felt that, okay, now they'll go out and spend a bit more money because they've already invested loads, but it will be on the Osimhens. It will be on, let's just use his name as an example, Costa to go in goal, to really give them a chance to win something this year and become a powerhouse in terms of challenging for a league title again. And their whole January was spent offloading players that they'd just bought for 50 odd million, like João Felix, and trying to sign Alejandro Garnacho, who I like as a player, but I don't think he's that needle mover. So this summer is so intriguing for me, because what this team needs is not 3 or 4 or 5 more players that are 18 to 22 years of age, great potential, but haven't done it yet. It needs Osimhen. It needs a Wirtz. It needs a Bruno G. And I'm using these names. It doesn't need to be these players. It needs a top goalkeeper. You spend 300, 400 million this summer, like Chelsea, like City are going to do. I think Arsenal might end up going up and spending 200 million plus as well. I think those clubs are going to go out and buy very established players. Or even if they're young, some young players are more established than others. Nico Williams is an example. The guy is won European, international tournaments as an example. I don't know if Chelsea. I think if they go out and buy more youngsters, I think they erode the support of up to about 85% of their fan base. And then I don't know where they go from there. Because that cannot be the business model anymore. I get you built a foundation from that. You now need to add not even stars. That's probably the wrong word. Established players. And
Facts.
and a lot of Chelsea fans, and this doesn't go away, they are petrified that Palmer might be sold this summer for one reason or another. And if he is,
Done.
the
See you later,
way-
lads. You know what I mean?
it
Mid-table
is-
soon.
it
Come,
is-
you'll be down there with United and Spurs next season, boys.
LB,
Trust me, man.
LB loves
coming
this,
down.
man.
Hey,
LB
look,
is so
look,
funny,
I
man.
know.
it's
the
crazy, man.
water's warm. Come on in, mate. The water's warm
It's-
down here. Do you know what I
But
mean?
this